and welcome to episode 2 of the PBE official podcast. Thank you all for joining us. Looks like we got a nice lot of 11 of you. I'm joined tonight by a person man. He's the one streaming tonight. Appreciate him for all the work he's done for this podcast so far. And we got Emmy with us too. So should be a fun night. How are you guys doing tonight? Either one can take that question.
I'm okay. I think I've been up for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, thank you for joining us all the way from England. And person man, how'd your weekend go?
So far so good. Yesterday, I spent a couple hours cleaning around where I live. Then today, did some homework.
Nice.
So, yeah, fun being a student.
Yes.
And now
academics are very important.
Yeah, I have this and then a team meeting for 3 hours afterwards. So.
Well, we should get into the fun part of tonight. Thank you, Emmy and Person Man, for joining. I've been gone all weekend. You mentioned that, so the topics were kind of jumbled together. But being commissioned, it's not very difficult to come up with topics like this. This is probably the most fun part of my job. Yep, we got several human peoples. Yep. Hot take: don't add everyone for a podcast. Sorry. I mean, this is our official podcast. Yeah. If there's anything to add everyone for, it's anything that's actually through the league that we're using Twitch for. So, apologize if you were hurt by the tag, but I don't think we're going to be stuffing. Yeah, everyone just at Gucci Necklace now in the chat. Yeah, please spam ats. Yeah, thank you, Leifer and Loki for that. Yeah, person man jumping in on the action there. So so I sent these fine folks 5 topics, and so we might as well just jump straight into them. So I'll go with question 1 for Emmy. I know you're kind of on the opposite side, being a GM of an expansion team first season, but I don't know if you've been paying attention to the leaderboards, the standings, but who's your early season, too early to tell, champion of this season based on what you've seen in the index?
Okay, so it's close, and there's 2 teams, and I'm not sure which one goes above the other, but to me, it's going to be San Antonio or Death Valley. I feel like both of them are going to be that close that it's going to be maybe like a game or 2 between them by end of season. And I think it's going to be one of those, where it's how they do against each other that determines it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for the East, for example, I feel like that one is going to be probably Cancun or Voyagers who are going to do the East. But I feel like most of the teams this year, interestingly, I thought we were going to have more Western Division teams getting through to playoffs and stuff. But at the minute, I feel like more of the East will.
Yeah, definitely 2 teams worthy of a championship this season. One is the defending champ. One hasn't held up a trophy in a while. I want to say since season 12 was the last time the Sloths won. So, or season 10.
Yeah, I mean, I have the index open, so.
Yeah, 2027. So. Yeah, or is that season 11? 1, 2, 3.
What is it now?
Yeah, but they do have 4, and the Scorpions do have 6. So 2 teams that have done it before can definitely do it again. By the way, did a bad job introing my guests tonight, but if you don't know, Emmy has taken over one of the 2 expansion teams, the Kashima Foxes. They are, as everyone can see in the compendium, looks like they're building for the future with those picks, and we'll get into those discussions definitely later in this first half hour. But now I want to hear from one of those 2 GMs that Emmy mentioned of one of those 2 teams, the Scorpions GM. Person man, where are you at? Are you feeling good about a back-to-back, or are you feeling like the Sloths are chomping at you guys?
I mean, so it's like, I don't know, like for me the goal, or the ideal goal is just to win the division, because the playoffs themselves are so random that really the only important thing in the regular season is to win the division because, as a top team, that gives you a much better chance, usually around like a 30 or so percent better chance to win the championship, just because you get that first round bye. I think it's been really close between us and the Sloths. The two of us are easily the top 2 teams in the league this season. It probably should go down to the wire. We played them last week in a 4-game series at their park. They won 3 out of the 4. I know this week we have a 4-game series against them at home. So we're hoping to win 3 out of 4, or you just split that series, stuff like that. Both those teams going to the playoffs. Both teams will probably make it fairly far there as well. The one thing that gives me a little bit of hope that we will be on top of them is one that we've just played less games at home. They've played 16 games, we've only played 12, so that gives us 4 more games at home. And then I don't think we've been playing particularly well. Or at least our batting has been kind of cold, or at least it was to start the season. It's heating up now. But I mean, for the West, the interesting thing is going to be how many other teams can make the playoffs. Because I think at a point in the offseason, there was a time where the Raptors fans and the Stars all were pretty solid, like playoff contenders, or like as I thought they would all make it. But the Toros, for me in the East, kind of are pushing at them. One, because they've been able to build a pretty good team for this season. 2, they get a little bit of a benefit playing in the East, getting some weaker opponents. You have like an extra 20 or so games. So, I mean, I think the Voyagers will win the East. They've only played 13 games at home, and they're doing really well. But I don't know. Tours will probably make it. Don't look at OBX. I really don't think they're going to make the playoffs unless they trade for people. They play 32 games at home, and they're in 3rd, or they're tied for 3rd.
22. Looks like 22.
Yeah.
That's still a lot. Not to say that's not a lot. It's still the most.
Yeah, I mean, they played 10 more than like the Toros at home, and that does give a pretty big advantage, at least to some extent.
Does is it 6 that make it through to playoffs?
Yes, it's top 6.
Yeah.
So
I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a part of me that's rooting for Vandals and OBX to get into the playoffs, and then Nashville and Boise don't, because I have their first round draft picks. So I have reasons for them not wanting to get them into playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, from the West, the least likely team to make the playoffs is going to end up being the Stars. Or at least all the testings I've done, they're the ones who get left out because the Toros.
That's what we got as well. Is them always like the ones that I thought. Well, I was shocked by that, and I think the one I always saw is just sneaking in his Boise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a lot of season to be played, but it is interesting to note all the home games played by OBX and translating to their record, but they look like away-wise 6-4, 12-10 at home. They play pretty good on the road, good enough to be above 500. So if they can continue both of those above 500, anything can happen as the season ends. Yeah, they're definitely a team to be looking out for. But in terms of this question, I mean, with all the players that DVS has that played well in the playoffs last year, they're now like in their last season before regression, and all being like batting wise, all the 2 batters of Lefebvre and James Love.
Come on.
Just looking up for the photograph of Efrels.
I mean, they're in a prime position to win it again. But the Slots have come on Humscott Pod many times since I created the podcast. Slots players being PJ Bren, Bo Sox, and Bobby Daring, 2 very frequented members of Humscott Pod. They said this was the beginning of their window with season 21. Then it was going to be 22, 23. But they said this year was the first year that you could say that they could, make a deep run and make a legit run. So, with Ryan Rose, in a strong position to win pitcher of the year. Too early to call, obviously. And their bats, I think that's going to be the series that everyone wants to see. So, but I think it's hard to say that defending champs have a worse shot at winning it again than a team that hasn't won since season 11. So, I think that the Scorpions definitely get that advantage of experience. But, we've seen teams like the Toros, hobble into the play, streak their way to a championship. So, and never, obviously before that, being kind of a recent expansion team, they never had that playoff experience that the Scorpions have this season. So, OTP has shown us it can go so many different ways once playoffs start. So we can move on to topic 2. Way too early to call MVP prediction. We'll start with Person Man this time. We kind of mentioned a few of your players already. I know the season. Oh, and just to update the poll, put up a poll who was going to win the West loss for Scorpions, and it was a legit down the middle tie. You can use channel points to vote. It looks like Joe Burrow spent points on both options. So
that's how conflicted it is. They don't want to make a full decision.
Right. Yeah, it just demonstrates exactly where we're at. The people voting, the person voting looks like he did all the voting. He can't pick one. It's literally a coin flip. We'll go back. Person Man, who batting wise, who's going to be MVP in your eyes?
Okay, right. The whole point is it's way too early to tell, because my answer would be it's way too early to tell. I mean, like the popular answer would be Anthony Bauer, just because he's been so hot to start the season. I don't know. My only issue with him is that as a first baseman or as DH, those types of positions, it is so hard to maintain this level of play for the entire season, and he would need to maintain this level of play for the entire season to have a really good shot at MVP. It's much easier to do that at positions like shortstop, center field, catcher, where you get a little bit more of a WAR boost from the out of the park modifiers.
I do agree.
It's like I don't know. Like, I'm looking around.
Is that what made Hunter Harrison then dip back into last season? But with that in mind, with positional differences in WAR, you think Hunter Harrison P last season? I mean, you're probably gonna answer in the alternative because your player won. But I think it's interesting when you mentioned positional stats and the fact that WAR is affected by what position you play.
So I mean, to some extent, it kind of works in the PB as well, because if you're a first baseman, you don't need any TPE into defense. You put it all into batting, and thus you're going to have much better batting stats. Like, I know that Bauer is a big man on campus build, which you cannot do at any position outside of first base, DH, maybe third base if you really don't like defense. But he's able to get that advantage versus it's just like James Love, who plays second base. He gets that WAR boost, but he has to put some TPE to defense. So it kind of evens out. But then
I do like that. I do think that I never even thought of it like that. So that's interesting to note that players that don't get that positional boost, quote unquote, also don't have to spend as much TPE to play defense.
Well, yeah. So it's like the only the two positions that kind of theory doesn't work for. Just that I'm kind of saying both sides. But third base is the third, or it's tied for the third largest boost in WAR. So if you have a max earning third baseman, they would have a pretty good shot at awards. But
because that's that sweet spot of you don't need a lot. It's not shortstop. You're not.
Right, yeah, you don't need a lot of TP there, and you get that boost. But I don't know. We don't usually see that many high TPE third basemen in the league, just because once some players once they get to that high TPE, it's better that they play other positions where you need defense. And then the other position is catcher. Realistically, as a catcher, I only need to put TPE into catcher ability because arm doesn't really do as much as I would like it to do at catcher, and then we don't need any other stats. So catchers and third baseman it doesn't really work for, but for shortstop, second baseman, center fielders, that's where you can justify them getting a little bit more WAR than first baseman or something.
It's interesting, and this reminds me of what podcast. If people haven't listened, go back listen to all the movie podcasts. They get thick into the weeds here, into the mud of PBE and our engine OTP. And yeah, it's been interesting to learn that over the past year and change. I've played the game for much longer than I've been in PBE. And these kind of things are interesting to note about the ratings in the game and how they actually translate in the results of the game in OTP. So always fun to learn about my favorite game. So we'll go. So you did MVP. You did MVP. Yeah. I'll let Emmy do Pitcher of the Year.
Yeah, it's okay. So my answer for MVP right now, I'm going to say Scott Poe. Because left field is not the best boost, but it's decent. Right now, he's doing pretty damn well. Third in WAR, second in OBS, second in slugging, second most total bases, and then I'm also along the lines of Bauer won't be able to bat almost 400 for the entire season at some point. Like we saw last year with Tentacion. At some point, it has to cool off. But I mean, if he's able to do it for the entire season, yeah, I mean, I would be very happy for him if he could win. But
yeah, bounce back season for Anthony Bauer. Last season definitely success with the Toros. So it's honestly kind of interesting to look at them side by side. Was season 20 stats versus season 21. But we'll take. I don't know, Emmy, if you've been paying. I know you are a pitcher, so you may actually have been paying close attention to the top pitchers. Who's your too early to call, way too early pitcher of the year this season?
Can I say a joke one? Because if so, I'm going to say myself. I mean, that's 7.99 WAR. Clearly, I'm in with a shot.
You mean ERA?
Yeah, ERA, that's it. So, yeah,
wow,
and minus 0.3 or something WAR. And 6 losses. I mean, clearly that's up there. But I think Ryan Rose.
Yeah, Ryan Rose is your too early to call pitcher of the year.
Yeah, I think so. Like, there's certain things that I look at them. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're a starting pitcher, and at the minute they've got 60 Ks and an ERA of 1.51, a WAR of 2.1, and I'm trying to see if I can find.
Only 15 walks. That's really good.
Yeah, only have 3 home runs.
Yeah,
wow, in that many innings, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like they're probably one of the early things to call.
Yeah, they're tied with Pearson for most WAR, but
yeah. Also, only have given up a little less strikeouts, a little more walks than Rose. I mean, like we said, it's too early to call. But it's definitely not a bad call to make, though. I think Ryan Rose will be in the conversation at the end. I feel like Ryan Rose has been on the cusp a few seasons now of this award. So this could be the first time Rose walks away as pitcher of the year.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to quickly say, reliever of the year, I mean, Dustin Collins up there being like 0.59 ERA.
Yeah. And 50, too early to call, obviously, for that too. Reliever of the year seems to come down to the very end because it's pretty split. We always have a few good pitchers at the top of the league and reliever of the year. But yeah, Bobby Daring's definitely in the conversation this season. Balkin again is probably in the conversation as well. wow, look at Wokenfuss's strikeouts per walk thrown. 18 strikeouts for every walk. That's pretty good, but it's one of those that will probably come down. So it should be interesting to see where that ends up. ERA plus is also a great for looking at pitchers, but yeah. So Ryan Rose, Bobby Daring, couple sloths, and then Balkan, and Smash Jackson for sure.
I mean, it's a lot of good pitchers. Yeah.
Yeah, Smash Jackson's having a breakout season to start this season. So first good season from Smash could end up streaking all the way into pitcher of the year if he can keep it up. So yeah, we can move on now. I would definitely want to talk to Emmy about expansion. Then we'll get into state of the sim team after that. Pete, man, you probably didn't see.
Yeah.
Hopefully you did. It was a great post about where we're at with sim team. But Emmy, I wanted to ask you, as we mentioned, the compendium notes, you guys have the Foxes have some picks for next year. What is your journey as expansion GM? What is your vision from the GM position of this new team? If you can share with us any kind of inside scoops.
So, easiest way to put this is I've been trying to get a GM for a while, and as a result, I've genuinely had a long time to think about how I'd take on it. Trying to be a GM and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's dope.
So I've had so one of the things that I've had as well is the ability to see the other teams and how they've done going forward. So we've seen Cancun and Nashville. We saw NOLA and Detroit. And from what we saw, and this is what me and Gurin, there's always been one team. There's always been one team that goes out and what's the word? Yeah, always one team that goes out and tries to win straight away, and there's always been one team that's gone out to I don't know, where one goes out to win straight away and one goes for build, as it seems, except whatever Nashville did. It's the caveat, whatever Nashville did. And we saw the one where they went out to try and win straight away. Both of those we saw in a way or two fall apart and not succeed. I mean, Cancun did eventually, but it wasn't the same team.
Yep.
And what we did then is we moved on to going on to a different. So what I decided was we take these new players. When it came to expansion draft, we basically we go for the best players and a mix of youth, so we can get all the ones that are older and just get rid of them and trade them on to get as many picks as possible. So we got last season we had 3 first-round picks, and this next season we got 3 first-round picks as well. And
can
3
can you pull up the draft picks portion of the compendium?
Already there.
Thank you. So
yeah, so
keep going.
Like I said, so the plan essentially is we pick up picks, as many as possible, to basically just keep building on this road of going, we know we're not going to be great straight out of the gate. You talk to your players, explain it to them, explain the plan and stuff like that. And that's been what it has been for me, to be honest, is just go talk to them, try and explain what the plan is, and then be able to bring people in, which will be for a window that we think is most realistic, is if we can keep people around for that point. I mean, we still have people that we've got a few contracts that can expire this year, and then we've got some that can last a bit longer. So we had the one that was guaranteed to expire, which was Oakwood Stud, signed an extension with us. So that's out way, and then we go on to the next bit and we'll start doing that. So what we wanted was bring in the older players, and then we can just trade them out.
Yeah. It's interesting looking at, you guys have 6 picks in the first 2 rounds of next year's draft.
Yep.
That's a lot. That's a lot in the league with only 14 teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. because you look at the roster that Person Man had pulled up for 4 of the Kashima Foxes, and it's a lot of season 20 players, and a lot of even some season 21 in there mixed in. So that window of 19, not a lot of 20, but 21, 19
Well,
and
20
21.
20 never existed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so it's season 19 because 20 never existed.
That's
Yeah,
interesting that we did that on the milestone. Changed up how we do the draft. Yeah.
So yeah, we basically decided, well, this could be as window is do this. So season 19. We have a few season 18s. Myself's a season 17. I'm a pitcher, so we've got a thing where we can start doing it in certain ways where we can build to go forward. Yeah, so like for me, the other thing and one of the other reasons why I thought good at draft as well is there's just to me like that's been one of my strengths when I've been on other teams. So I've worked with the Crabs and Boise, and I helped draft in both of those places. With Crabs, I think it was season 14 through 16, and then season 18 through 18, 19, and well, I would say 20, but 20 basically were just, well, this person's available.
Right.
Yeah, so like it's the thing I've been able to do like the best of, which is choose players and basically build from bottom, and left those teams in decent situations when I left. So it's what I think, in my opinion, even though I've got so many picks, and the thing is, we've got few roster spots. You never know what's going to happen with an expansion. So that was my other thing as well. Is I'd rather have all bases covered.
Yeah, no, it was definitely fun to watch on draft night. Not gonna lie. All the wheeling and dealing the Foxes were making to put them in a position now next season to cash in on those picks. And personally, just watching teams that try to rebuild now and go and build for the future. Now I feel like the Foxes are in a prime position. Any team that's trying to look for the build for the future is in a prime position because of how the draft is set up now. It's almost like scouting is nowhere near as important as it used to be. Now it's just can you get to know the user?
Yeah, I'm
that
gonna
is
say I
active
think
now,
that's
and they guarantee? Can you help? And can you, after watching them, interacting with them, can you kind of predict that they're going to keep that consistency? So top of the food chain of the next class, those users, can they stay committed to PBE and keep earning for a full career? But I think a lot of the pressure for a rebuilding team has been lowered with the way the draft is set up, because it's less scrambling on draft night trying to figure out who even is this person days before the draft. And now it's more, who can you predict can actually stay in PBE and sustain a long career?
Yeah, it's like that. Who fits it? I'd say also who fits in with your locker room. So what I've been doing is I've sort of changed how we do the like the Kit Calls podcast. I started it this week where I'm changing it, where I'm basically getting in a rookie, which is this is going forward, where we're getting a rookie in, from all the going forwards draft. So like one a week, where they just basically come in, they can interact with his locker room and stuff, but they basically just given the podcast to sell themselves. They want to sell themselves to either my team or someone else's. It's just something we've done because then they can get used to locker room, used to people there, because there's a chance that we circle back to a few of them. And if not, we've got like other players that are active, because with an expansion team, we have got very few. We've got it where as locker room is rather small anyway, because a lot of us team is inactives. Definitely on pitching side, for example, I know we've got a lot of relief pitchers that aren't inactive, but we've got a lot of basically, other than me, all the starting pitchers inactive. All and then some of us batting ass. If I remember right, as on his back line, in his outfield, is essentially it's just Yuta Cloudera who's not. and then we've got Rove, who's sort of inactive. Like he doesn't speak too much in the locker room. Then you've got a few others like that where it's a building process, but like it's one that I've been used to with minors anyway.
Being with the Dynamos, yeah.
Yeah, so the thing with me is it's building a locker room from scratch, and it's just I feel like that's going to be the thing going forwards for looking into drafts. Is does this user fit in with what you're trying to do, and not just does this player fit in?
Yeah, that can go a long way. Having that same vision altogether, because like you said, you have to explain to them, but someone may not want to fit into that vision, and so the communication has to be there. And appreciate you breaking down that journey you've been on, Emmy. It's been fun to watch, and looking forward to seeing how these players pan out that you have over there in Kashima. But Person Man, you wrote a post about the Sim team. You do this every so often. You call it the State of the Sim team. Can you kind of give our listeners tonight the too long didn't read version? And you could definitely pull it up.
See, whenever I write these, I'm never like, actually in a good state of mind. Like I'm always just really, really tired. And like the first few seasons, I just did it at like 1 a.m. For whatever reason. Yeah, I mean, every season I put out a survey. The season we got the highest average score, 8.64 out of 10, versus in the high mid sevens. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about last week, but I added the stat team that pretty much came directly from a suggestion or from an idea from the survey. So that's always good. Hired 2 new streamers, Danny B and Son User. Hired them because we're adding the 4th stream day on Wednesdays, which again we talked about last week. Yeah, we started doing stream raids, which have been pretty fun.
Yeah, they've been pretty successful.
Could you break that down for me? Because I don't know what that actually is. I know I saw you write about it, so I just don't know what it is, stream raiding. I mean, I know what raiding something like a server is, so it's why I don't. But it's not the same thing.
Yeah, so essentially, stream raids are that like anyone that's watching our stream, get my thing. So right now we're looking at the stream manager. So I have this because I'm a mod of the channel. So what we can do is we can go to raid channel. It gives me this. I can say, hey, let's look for an out of the. Okay, well, I can't spell out of the park. Give me something. Oh, look, the PBE Sim or a different channel that's streaming this game. We click on them. He's gonna let us rate ourselves. I wasn't expecting that. But
I mean, it's a good test.
Raid them.
We do it at the end of the podcast. Just see what happens. But yeah, so I can pick a channel, and we can essentially just move all of our viewers over there, and then anyone that comes onto our stream gets essentially redirected to theirs, or they see the other person's stream. So it was something that I wanted to try, and so on Tuesday, I just kind of did it, and I don't know, I had a good time.
Yeah, I think Tuesday was the day I missed the stream because I've been watching them a bit more often, but it was the first round of NHL entry draft, so I decided to go watch that instead. That was so many hours of my life I can't get back because it seemed to go on forever.
Yeah, and I think that was the day, Person Man, that was the pack opener on Perfect Team, or was that Wednesday?
That was Wednesday. The first one, on Tuesday there were no people streaming out of the park, baseball at all. So I found someone that had like 10 viewers that was streaming MLB The Show 20.
Yeah, I remember. Well, Wednesday we had a Simply Hunter, I think, is who we rated. He opens a lot of packs on his stream live from Perfect Team from OTP. And yeah, he was happy to see. I think we boosted him up to like we had 22 users rating, so he had 36 viewers. He said he had never had that many before.
I mean, that's always something nice to hear.
Right?
Yeah.
And it made me so happy. I'm like, we need to keep this going just because it's so easy as Person Man. Also, this Twitch mod, and I could just literally click, raid.
It's that easy. See, you can either click raid or you click run 180-second ad break. They're very, very, very equal in my hearts. Or we can always just go to an emo only chat.
Oh, emo only. Oh wait, I was trying to say hi to LBG and Beth. What the heck? Right when I was trying to, literally right when I typed it, you put it on emote only.
You can use the hi guys waving emoji. That's the way for everyone to respond now.
Yeah. So I want to continue doing stream raids. I didn't do one yesterday. One because I don't think we had that many viewers. For just a prime time, and then I was just really tired and I didn't want to hop on the stream and do it. But yeah, I mean, for the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday streams, we can continue to do it because we'll be able to raid with at least like 20 or so people consistently. Yeah.
Thing that I want to mention, which is about the sim thing, is do you take suggestions from just random users? By the way, because this is because we were talking about this with somebody with today who's known in the Out of the Park streams and discords, and they were coming up with some ideas how we could improve the streams. So it were quite interesting, like having their take, and I feel like that's something that you might be interested in hearing from somebody who's a moderator of the Out of the Park. I think it's Discord.
Yeah. So you're mentioning Crazy Katie Kate
Yeah.
We discovered that so we actually rated OTP's official stream, which didn't really tick the needle at all because I think we brought in like 30 plus, but they had 660 at the time.
Yeah.
So the guy doing the live stream, he's going through his intro, and he didn't. It came up on the screen for everyone, but he didn't which it is expected when you're 30 people in a sea of 700.
Well, also to be fair, like on the Tuesday raid, he had like stream alerts on, so when we raided, it popped up on his screen. He saw something very visible. With Out of the Park, in the comments it said, "Hey, PBE's raiding with this many people," but nothing popped up on screen. So I mean, if he wasn't reading the comments, religiously, he wouldn't have really noticed. But also, real quick. So, I don't know if you're watching the stream that I'm sharing, but I highlighted, so anyone watching on Twitch, I highlighted a line from the State of Sim team that I include every single season, which is, if people have suggestions, I'm always open. Again.
Okay, I just wondered, because we were talking about it today in the podcast that goes up tomorrow, and they were suggesting stuff like using the different camera angles and not just the default, which I thought were an interesting idea.
Yeah. I mean, we played around with that a little bit. Maybe for like one game, but like an entire stream with those types of games, we didn't really think would look that good. I mean, it's something that we can always talk about with streamers.
From a viewer standpoint, someone who plays the game, I enjoy the behind the picture camera, and then hit the ball, and then it goes back to the main default camera to see how the play ends up. But I could definitely, vouch for someone who would. I mean, I could definitely understand if someone wouldn't like that, because we do have a pace to our game action speed, and it can definitely get a bit disorienting to be those quick flash changes, like boom boom, constantly each pitch, each at bat. So I mean, I enjoy it because I'm OTP fan, and I like how they've added the camera angle, so I like supporting that. But I could definitely see from a spectator standpoint, for their opinion, that they don't like it. Like it makes sense. So that's maybe something worth polling down the line.
It was just more of a like, here's something you could do, because I kind of think of questions on fly.
It is interesting. If that's if that's the one main thing, I feel like that means we're in a pretty good spot, right, person man? If the main suggestion is just changing camera angles,
that was generally like the thing we got. Because that was one of the main things that they said. That were it, and I was like, okay. I mean, there's other things that I'd like to change, but that's an entirely different thing, and it's not to do with stream. Well, it is to do with one of the streams, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we should probably start to move on to questions.
Yeah.
And then we do this like half an hour, and ends a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll keep the questions open for sure. We'll start. We'll probably try to do a hard stop at 8. I know you got stuff to do too. Our stream here in the official PBE podcast. Feel free to start dropping questions into the chat, and we will. It looks like 209 Tacos is more demanding than question. He said, "Hey, go get some better graphics."
Yeah.
Maybe we should get a better graphics director.
I guess I'll have to hire someone for that.
Get better graphics.
Plans on changing sim schedule back after highlighting. So I actually mentioned this last season. This isn't the first time that our lowest viewership in the week was on a Saturday. This is actually that on a Saturday night, it's going to be hard to pull in 80, 70, 100, unless it's like a big playoff game. When it's the first prime time of the season, it's going to make it difficult to, bring in those big amounts. People have plans. I know I did. I was at a wedding. So it definitely is our most difficult night to bring high. Like when I was floating around that big lottery, obviously you can bring in the 100 because you just had to show up. But when you're not incentivizing people to show up other than just to watch and enjoy and hang out, it makes it difficult. What do you guys think about how Saturday went? I think we had like 30-something viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really able to watch it either, unfortunately. I know towards the end, like when the upload was starting, it was down to like 12 or 16. So it was fairly low. But again, I talked about this last week. I talked about in the state of the sim team that I wrote. But the main issue is really that because of the fact that people wanted to watch primetime games from the poll that I sent out, we kind of have to do it like this because the 7 games Diesel did a good job last night. It was under 2 hours. I think it was like an hour 45 or something like that for the entire stream.
Wow.
And that's just 7 straight games streamed. So we can't really add more days to that without it being a super, super long stream.
The only thing I would ask is, can you see like how many people watched it afterwards? Because maybe like it's just like we said, like Saturday maybe it's not good for everyone, and they could watch it the next day.
Yeah, I mean, we can like it shows kind of like on the VOD. It shows how many people have seen them.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's pretty much what Hummus was saying earlier. Like even when we had more games on the Saturday stream, Saturday was always the day that the least amount of people would watch. Because the weekend, when I was trying to add, this 4th stream day, I asked the streamers, what day do you guys want? And pretty much the answer was just not the weekend, not Friday, not Sunday.
It's the hardest night to bring in viewers. And like you're saying, it's hardest night to bring streamers. And that's part of the challenge of being, the commissioner, and for you being Sim Team is, asking someone, hey, can you please, stream something for 3 hours? We need them, and set up Twitch and talk to chat, do all these things that it requires commitment of energy, time. Brain power. It's not brainless. Like you can't just click it and just let it go. You got to be engaged. The weekends are very difficult for everyone involved. And like we said, I remember last season we had 36 on a Saturday night. It wasn't that out of the question to have that many in there. And adding Wednesday was one of our highest view nights of the week. I think we were hitting because of the fact it's a high. We were able to finally of majors and minor streams, we were hitting 70, 80. It just makes sense. Middle of the week, you don't have as much going on. Let me throw on Twitch and see how my team's doing. So it is definitely interesting to have only those 7 games box scores of how people are doing in other games. And there has been thrown around the idea of spreading prime time out throughout the week, sprinkling them in, and maybe even throwing in. It's just like with this offseason being so short with expansion and so much other stuff going on, it was and the file with adding so many things into the file, from the behind the scenes standpoint, it was going to be impossible to have the schedule come out and then pick out a prime time where it's that far ahead of time and spreading it out throughout the week. So now that we can kind of talk about it, maybe that maybe bring in next season and have the 7 primetime games, a couple on Tuesday, a couple on Wednesday, and then the rest you could do a normal stream on Saturday and just do only 3 or 4 prime times, and then you can mix it up.
I'm gonna say doing that. Then I'm guessing that'd be a thing, not just for the You've got it where it won't just be a thing for Sim Team, and you'd have to work out how the prime time, PPT team would change as well, because that'd have to change.
Right.
Would you do it a week in advance? Like,
yeah. So that was the major. Early, right? That was the major issue with things, is that like Kama said, it just got to be too late in the off season to plan that all out. Yeah, you'd have to do prime times the entire week ahead, so the first one starting in the off season.
And I mean, I couldn't definitely understand why we didn't want to do another longer off season, because like we had a month one last time. You don't want to do that twice in a row.
Right, and that's why the majority opinion was to do a short off season. When you're adding 2 expansion teams, only the second time we'd done, or was that this was the first time we did like a different. So the minor league draft was different because you're only getting those players in the minor league draft, and it was just a lot. And obviously, with some drama sprinkled in, you can't forget about that. So it was a full off season in 2 weeks. Like we covered an off season can possibly have, and in a shortened time span. So a random question: who is the best Among Us player in the league, and why is it Valor? Best Among Us player, I think Wombat's pretty good because he likes to scope out the cams pretty well.
Is it bad apartment wants to just say Diesel? He's the funniest to play with.
I haven't played with Diesel yet.
If you know, he's great.
Yeah, Halfie's pretty good too. Like I don't think I've played with Halfie. No, I haven't played with Halfie yet.
Yeah, I played with Halfie.
He's just become a meme at this point.
Yeah, Halfie's become a meme. Poor Halfie. So there's Halfie. I played with Valor, Ren. I think I played with Hummus for a bit.
Yeah, we played.
All Star's pretty good.
Yeah.
And LSU fan.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, everyone just suspects me most of the time. So.
Yeah. No, that's been fun. That's been. I mean, it's an easy pick up and play game. Cool to see that kind of taken off. To me, this many people from the league playing the same video games together off stream, like not PBE game related, just hanging out, just playing a game. So that's been pretty fun because it's a fun game and we're all kind of interacting from all parts of the league. Eldorian is pretty good, but
in the Among Us, thing in Discord to see if there's any names that can pop up. Yado was pretty good, but I don't know if he's in a league or not.
Yado?
Yeah.
He created recently.
Nice.
He's in here.
Yeah, I remember playing with Yado. I think I played with maybe Enoch for one game, and
so Enoch's on there now. Nice. When your most dedicated member's playing Among Us, it's going to be interesting to see him getting involved with that. Because I've been hounding him to get it, and so that should be fun.
Yeah, I think we played it once, and everyone went off, and he's just like, "Oh, they're all going now."
I mean, that's pretty much how.
So he only played one game.
Yeah. The best bit is when people ask you to play it, it's nearly 4 or 5 o'clock for me and Dre in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, for some reason, War is up, so.
Tacos is asking about Among Us. So you can play on mobile for free, which I did with my coworker when I first played. And if you have a headset plugged in, it actually works pretty fine.
Yeah.
I think, Emmy, you were saying on mobile, there's like one task that's difficult.
Yeah, well, I went and then apparently because Dren plays it on shares of a laptop or tablet, and what Dren says is if it's on a tablet, it's fine that task, but on my phone, it's too small to do one, which is where you've got to drag like a little nodes, yeah, and that one's very hard.
Mobile,
but like, I just put it on PC.
I hate it.
You play Among Us on mobile?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna pay $5. I don't have money.
Takes.
See,
Doesn't the league have some money? No, I'm kidding.
See, I paid $5 for it because clearly I need that little suit that they give you.
Yeah, it comes with a bunch of skins.
Yeah, you get the suit and then the plague mask because everyone just wears the plague mask, so you can confuse who you are to everyone.
Yeah.
I want to go to a question that we skipped, and it's about
I was about to ask that
because it'll be like a couple minutes. Okay, so the question is, well, hello, I have a question about the minor league. What do you think on the Wheelers a mixed start, and if they were to make the playoffs, who would lead them to the playoffs?
So yeah, we haven't covered minors tonight. That's my fault. Shout out to
that was the reason why I was going to ask. Is that was the thing I was about to ask? Is when I saw that question, I was like, "Have we missed 5, or is that something we're doing at the end, or what?"
The importance of Discord. We'll cover that next week. This is something that's just kind of we ran into recently, and I'm kind of handling it with Enoch. We had a few creates join through a video I uploaded on our OTP, and a few of them. Some of them came on Discord. I think there were 4 total, and some of them haven't. And it's kind of caused a stagnation of where they're at with their player, and trying to figure out. And minor league GMs are trying to figure out who to pick up on waivers. So that's just a separate topic. But the Wheelers, it's look at the record of the West in the minors: 14-10, 11-13, 11-13, 10-14. So separating 4 games separate first place and last place. So if we're talking too early to call, the minors is the epitome of doing anything too early with how the parity is.
I'm going to say we're going to say with minors, it's one of the most interesting for me when it comes to seeing how quickly they can change. Like, I genuinely didn't expect the Dynamos this year to be, and I know the Dynamos GMs didn't expect to be in the position they are this year.
Yeah, it kind of goes in ebbs and flows because Enoch I was kind of talking to my minor league GMs earlier, and his team was primed. The Hepcats were primed to be successful, and they were one of the worst teams in minor league. Last season, they were pretty good. But season 19, they kind of fell off, and it kind of just shows where we're at with minor league PBE. The parity is so strong that teams that are expected to do well with TPE wise aren't performing up to it, and vice versa. Teams that are on the low end of TPE are able to perform well.
Now, because you've asked I'm guessing you say which player leads them and stuff like that. I'm going to say, because I've got a prospect I've got 2 prospects on Wheelers. So it can be Troy Pressing, who's the pitcher, or it can be Sailor Twift, which is Gurren.
Gurren Wudo. Yeah. Joe Burrow's having a good season, though. That's hitting 320. And 13 Ribby, second on the team. It's pretty, you can't ask for much more from your catcher. So you have to be hitting that well from the catcher positions. It's difficult to do because they're expected, as we talked about, catcher ability to spend there to help their team out. Should be interesting as we keep moving through the minor league season. But I wonder if we got any more questions coming in, because we're probably going to close up shop here soon. Anything you guys want to add before we close up? Because it looks like we're not getting any questions coming in as we speak.
The only thing I can think of myself is like, where do you think the league is at the minute on this? Like, you're the commissioner. Like, so what do you see the league as at the minute? Because obviously we've had bigger draft classes in the past. Do you think we're on like a downswing of draft classes, or do you think that they were like anomalies and that wasn't what we're supposed to be expecting?
Tacos says hi. Hey, Tacos, what's going on? Yeah, recruiting is really hard. We talk about it in management a lot. Spend a lot of time just trying to bounce ideas off people. And yeah, we're at a point where our baseball on Reddit doesn't respond to anybody, even though we have active users who are in our baseball and comment a lot. I just think the mods are on a different cloud when it comes to being grounded in the internet, and it definitely is disappointing that we can't even try to grow a relationship with them, no matter how many different angles we attempt. So I kind of have a trick up my sleeve to, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I posted my tutorial video on how to create a player on ROTP. But I bounced the idea of, why don't I just post it on our baseball? It's not an advertisement. It's not, we're not selling anything. I'm not linking them to anything. So it's not like a spam link. It's the direct upload video. So looking at listing all of those things, technically I don't even need permission to post it, since it's not an advertisement. It's not a link outside the site. It's just all I would have to do then is in the title, make sure to be clear that it's through OOTP. The game is the base of it, but you don't need to play OOTP to be in PBE. I didn't know how to even do the offline file for the league until like season 15. So
I mean, I'm still learning some of the stuff with the sim, and that's why I got Curran, who knows it.
Right. So that just goes to show, the video game isn't as important as a lot of us think. So, what if we get a few people upvote, don't comment, no more cheesy sales pitchy, oh, this is a great league, a great community. Like that just looks extremely tacky. But, just a couple people throw a few upvotes here and there, let it gain a little traction. You never know. Someone might comment, be like, hey, this looks really fun. What is this? Can you explain more about what this is? Looks pretty cool. That's what happened on our OTP. It was actually organic. Someone commented, this looks interesting. And then all of a sudden that person ended up creating. So, it takes a village to raise a child. So it's good to know that we have people, working hard, trying to get their friends to join, but it's really difficult because explaining this doesn't take 30 seconds. It takes a few more than a few minutes. So yeah. Oh, we do have some questions coming in. We'll probably end with those. Who's your favorite players to watch since being in the league? Didn't we talk about this last week? We covered this last week because I said Steiner. You said yourself, first name, last name. But I guess so. Emmy, I guess this question's for you. Who's been your favorite player to watch since you joined?
Since I joined, they're no longer a player, and I really enjoyed watching Dren's old character, Jennifer Tarbington.
Yep, great player.
And I also enjoyed watching my old player, which is Manto. When I remember on the final season with her, I genuinely just turned her into a golden glove at third base and nothing else. That was all the plan was. Is just she's going to get the golden glove, and it happened.
Yeah.
One thing I would say about circling back, which is quite interesting, when we were talking about about the sim and stuff, I'm pretty sure Leifa went his entire career as a GM without the game.
Wow, that's incredible! Shout out to Leifa. Walked home with the championship.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember that because I remember he used to ask everyone else to do the testing, so I'm pretty sure he didn't have it. Yeah, Blue Line's a person I always like seeing as well. But then again, I also like Blue Line as a user. Somebody I did assistant GMing with in a different league.
Obviously I'm good friends with Blue Line. Helped me build my player a few times. Great teammate in Vancouver with me. But it's a good question for Person Man. Who are some of the most dedicated members that aren't HO or a GM? So disqualifiers are anyone that is HO or GM. So
are we talking about strictly major GMs? I mean, we have Enoch.
No, I think that qualifies. If you're a minors GM, I think, especially nowadays with how important to build them that first before they get drafted, I think they disqualify from Bauer's question. So who do you think that doesn't hold a GM or HO position?
Tacos. 209 Tacos seems to do a lot.
Tacos is your answer. That's a great answer.
It's the person I've seen do a lot, graphics wise, just popping up in podcasts. There's a lot of people I've seen behind. Like I could even said, some of the people who are GMs and stuff. There is some that go above and beyond like their things. So as much as TARDIS, like John Super TARDIS, is a GM, they do a lot more outside of doing the GM stuff, like the podcasts and stuff they do.
Right.
Which you don't have to do as a GM.
I know someone on this podcast that's a great example of that. Person Man being someone that wears so many different hats, including GM, which is difficult in itself. But speaking of that, Person Man, is Tacos your answer as well? Most dedicated member that doesn't hold any of those positions?
I mean, before this season, I would have said Miss Obvious, because he used to do a bunch. But now he's a GM, so that's not my answer, because he sucks. I mean, Tacos is a great one.
Yep. Agreed.
Who doesn't have... I'm just trying to think of who's
in management. Davey.
Yeah, Davey.
Davey's in charge of Twitter. Shorax. Shorax probably may be the top answer here with the bank system, the scraping system he built, the Twitter system he built, that's automated now. Tacos and Shorax probably would be a fun celebrity death match to see who would win that fight of most dedicated members of people who aren't an HO or GM. So
there's a person who is they are in a GMing role, but they go above and beyond outside of their role as a GM, and that's CMAC for the work he does with Compendium.
Yes, well, he's a GM.
Yeah, but I'm trying to say if we take it for because
at all in general.
Because that's the thing is you look at it right, and granted, you've got you've got the fact that they're a GM, but the thing which is the fact that they're a GM only means they are a GM or a head office. It's the stuff they do outside of that.
Right.
So they don't have to hold the role of a Compendium member. They don't have to hold the role as the rookie mentor head and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. When people wear these multiple hats, it's definitely important for the league that they continue, and we should always acknowledge all the work they do, not just GMs.
I mean, I'm going to say with Enoch, for example, I'm so happy that I were able to choose them as my replacement. Yeah. I always knew they'd do well as a rookie mentor head.
Yeah, Enoch's great. We play a good amount of COD. He knows how I feel about him. I actually campaigned for him to win MDM, so it was cool to see him walk away with it. Speaking of walking away, we are at 8:09. I know Person Man's got some stuff to handle tonight. So we want to say good night and goodbye. Thank you, Emmy, for joining us so late over there in England. And Person Man, thank you for streaming as always. You killed it.
We aren't done yet because
we're gonna raid.
Oh yeah, we're gonna raid ourselves. See what?
That's right. We're gonna
raid ourselves. This is where it just becomes like an Inception thing.
Okay, here I can show you. There you go. Okay, Raidception, raid channel. I'm scared. It's probably. Okay, well, is this PBE?
Yeah, PBE. So.
There we go. I know. I'm the stream. Okay, start raid. What's good? Oh,
something is wrong with this action.
Okay, we can stream someone else.
So it's not possible.
We can stream someone else, though. Let's just find someone.
Yeah, Raidception, lol. Yeah. We got D9 by our own channel. Sadness.
Oh, why? Okay, come on. Let's do out.
I'm enjoying the thing of a £1/4 burger. That's some brilliant images.
Okay, I know they don't have any commentary, so let's go with DRC note. See, here's the sad thing: is that they're already at 44. Okay, I mean we'll do them DRC underscore nomads.
Yeah, it's just like randomly raid them with the 12 people.
Yeah. I'm okay, Cubs. I'm Cubs fan, so let's do that. We'll see what happens.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna head over with my account as well.
8 viewers. Do you want to do 9?
No, not 9.
10?
10.
10? Come on, come back. Do you want to do the 10 people? It's so sad. Like, okay, sure.
I mean, we're just podcasting. We're just hanging out.
Here it is.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
And it's come across now.
Nice.
Okay, unhost them. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna turn up the volume.
Let me end our stream.